Good morning. Today is September 7th. We are in the local vigilance area today because I didn't really feel like it's kind of a cloudy, gonna rain, drizzly all on and off all day kind of day, and I decided I hadn't been in this area for a bit and I could have gone and done this. The weather's going to be about the same in Vermont versus Connecticut, so I decided to stay local today and check up on a local area around here instead, just to switch things up. So that's the plan. It's probably about 71 right now. The weather is nice. It's not too muggy yet. Although I have a mosquito that's not liking DEET on me, but he's like determined to buzz in front of my face and make a maximum nuisance of himself anyway. Hence the word bug you. And yeah, so that's about all that's going on so far. We're going to be bear aware in here, as this is a fairly high bear density area. And every time I daydream in here, you happen upon something like that. I've already seen like 4 turkey for the first time in forever in here. And I kick myself for not getting the turkey tag in here, but that's in a month, not now. Anyway, let's get going. Let's stop rambling into the camera and see what we find, and we'll see what we document today and all that jazz. Come on along and let's hit it. Okay, so I was wrong about the bugs. The skeeters are out in force. I just didn't initially encounter them at the car in great density. The minute you stop, they're all over you. So I didn't think I was going to have any fodder for this video today, but that's when you have to remember that the community will always be happy to provide something to that nature. And God forbid I should be wrong about that, but here's the deal. So once again, we're borrowing some some updates from the Tall Ones podcast, but this is one of those things where before I get into the meat and gravy of this, I'm going to half predict that within like 6 months is an arbitrary number to throw out there. The gentleman in question, Mark Zaski, is going to deny ever having said this or try to walk it back or make the old, I was misconstrued thing happen. Try to anyway. Apparently Mark is part Bigfoot, according to him. And he is because, well, of course the fuck he is, because why not, Melba Ketchum had angel DNA intermixed with the Bigfoot that was braiding the hair of her horse or some nonsense. And Chris Noel had a freaking baby Bigfoot that looked a whole lot like a porcupine shimmying up a tree. Almost identical to a 20-second video segment I had on one of my own videos from that period of time of, I don't know, a porcupine shimmying up a tree, God forbid. And, you still have people out there that are, like, trying to say that the Jacobs bear is something. It's at a bear feeding station with all these other bears around, but it's a chimpanzee. Or it's Bigfoot. Or a baby Bigfoot. Or, what the hell, the Dover Demon for all we know. Except for one small little pesky fact that, in fact, it's a bear. And this is why, number one, we cannot have nice things. And number two, the mainstream will always struggle with the subject to take it seriously because of jackanapes like this making stupid claims for the sake of clickbait and attention. And the question that just popped into my head that we're going to take this as a route for is that, why do they do this? Theory number one, textbook narcissism. The community has no shortage of narcissists within it. And that's why you get a lot of these silly claims, because it's all just a matter of who can one-up each other on the most outrageously bizarre claim of basically translating to, hey, look at me. And that's about what it is. And again, that's why people struggle to take this subject seriously, because they hear this stuff and like, are you bleeping kidding me? Is the natural reaction to it. So just to kind of give you a off the grid kind of look at where we are today with all those lovely allergen weeds coming up. We are going to get into some of this in a little bit and have a look around inside for signs of life. be it bear or moose, or we have seen a cougar in here, and I'm not going to get into a pointless debate about the existence of cougars in the eastern states, when the fact is I've seen one in New York and I've seen one in Connecticut. And to the people in their infinite condescension who want to say, well, it was a bobcat. Bobcats don't have long tails with big black dots on the end of them, like the thing I saw did. Like it or not, in the greater Granby, Suffield area of Connecticut, there is a mountain lion in residence, because I know a multitude of people, hunters, hikers, and the like, that have seen it. And the deep can either, the deep of course being the equivalent of potentially your state's DNR, can't accept this, or they can try to just deny it till somebody gets fucking mauled by the thing, pardon my French, at which point they will be liable for that. And the reason why would they cover it up? Money. What I've heard is the minute they admit there's something like that here, it becomes endangered, and money they have for pork barrel projects somewhere else. If I'm going to delve briefly into misuse of funds, and I'm going to actually go into a rant on that just because it's on my mind now. They have that money slated for some freaking fat little project that probably isn't necessary, but they want it. I have, like, there are two projects that I am aware of, one on the city level, one on the state level, that are a waste of money. But to the complaint I'm going to offer, this is a petty gripe of my own, just basically re-registering your car. And in my town, you have also a volunteer fire department. Now, in an efficient setup, you would have the ability to pay these two in one stroke, but it doesn't work that way. You have to pay them separately. And if you wait too long or it goes delinquent, you can't re-register your car when that comes due. And it's just a act of civil irresponsibility to me to drive around with an unregistered car. And eventually somebody with a badge in a cruiser with a license reader is going to run your plate and see that it's not current, and they're going to pull you over, and then you get a ticket if you're lucky. And that's a really good time to be nice and polite to the officer, because if he decides he's going to freaking take you to jail or something, he can do that too. But so I, just out of force of habit, and people will probably get on me about this, I paid by check, but I paid early. My registration isn't due until the end of the month. And I paid all these taxes to the city at the beginning of last month, so I had a 2-month window. So the fire tax didn't like the fact that I had overpaid by a couple cents and made me do it over again. And because they didn't like the fact that they had to do math at that point. And I don't like this trail anyway. I'm just going to show you if the damn thing, if it scrolls down. You have all this loose rocky shit right here. And it makes it really easy to do bad things to your ankle and things. And as we go further down, I'm not going to go all the way down today, but it gets very steep in here. Anyway, back to government stupidity. That was fun in and of itself, but then you have the city and the car tax itself. So I was told that when you pay by check, and this is my own fault, admittedly, you have to wait 21 days for the thing to clear, but that still gave me plenty of time to get to the due date on my registration. So I thought. So come to find out, the city had gotten my check on the 7th, and they had cleared it on the 23rd. So I had over a month to get it taken care of, yet they didn't clear it at all, and it was sitting there. They were just sitting on the check for over 3 weeks. And as a result, I had to actually go and get proof of them by way of images of the check, of their own stamp on my check, to prove that I paid them and that they had done their job and cleared it. That does not make sense to me. That's my story of government. There are other things I could say too, but I'm not going to because that's not the subject at hand today. Mark Zaski is basically
Mark Zaski is not part big.
At this point, it's fairly safe to say the arch nemesis of the Tall Ones podcast, and he is somebody who will copyright strike a video that criticizes him because rather than debate and win the argument, he has to go and do that because he can't win the argument because he's full of shit, basically. He'll claim bullying or some such, and it's like, dude, you're making outlandish claims, and outlandish claims require outlandish proof, and you don't have it, so here we are. Anyway, that's the fodder off the top of my head. I'm going to see what else is going on in my head, and we will come back, maybe go back down the road of, like, what else makes people do things like this in the community. Narcissism is the big one, though, which is a real bona fide, real-life mental condition, and a lot of people out there have it. A lot of people in the community have it bad. Some are straight up delusional, some are predatory delusional, but in the meantime, let's take a segment break and let me decide how far down this thing I'm going to go. Or it gets steeper than that too, by the way. This is basically a winding trail down the side of, I won't call it a mountain because Connecticut more has like these foothill things that they call mountains. But it's about a half a mile of winding this loose rockiness, and I don't know if I'm going to go all the way down just because I don't want to like have to come back up it. But yeah, we're going to take a segment and we'll be back in a bit. And we're back. And we're into the forest floor as promised. This is the, when you're looking for tracks and all, this is like your Connecticut normal, at least in this stretch of woods. Not ideal for tracking, but still always interesting for other reasons too. If you're like a forager, you're getting to that time of year when if you're looking for mushrooms, there's going to be no shortage of variety. There's a rich menagerie of those in here. And what the fuck was that? Hold on one second. No, the phone. What the hell was that? Let me shut up for a few. Case in point, the mushroom population flexing itself. The little stream that ran through here is dried up. This is like that's like a stream bed normally. Not that I know these woods at all. But that's what happens when you hike the same areas for years and years. It's like all little, like a stagnant little pool right here. Right there. But not that I've been looking, but what I haven't seen today are those little orange newts that are so common through here this time of year. But anyway, I'm also trying to get across this without killing myself because rocks with this kind of algae on them can be very deceptive as far as how slippery they are or they're not. So we're gonna kind of take it slow and easy on that. We continue through here. So getting back to my thoughts on mental illness and bigfooting. For some it's probably an uncomfortable subject, but to be blunt, mental illness is a lot more common than people want to think it is. And what I mean, how we're defining mental illness, if you have like a mild form of OCD, because I'm a doorknob jiggler. More mushrooms, 2 different kinds right here, but so we don't deviate from the topic. 4 different, right, so, well, just to stick to the mushroom topic for a minute, 4 different kinds of mushrooms in the course of like 20 feet here. And I would recommend eating none of them for obvious reasons. So, I mean, but the OCD is not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about things that would affect your belief system in this. And you have people who are, Zasky, as an example, I think is a narcissist. There are other people in the community that there's a newt, that are definitely narcissists. And that's on the skeptical side as well as on the believer side. On the skeptical side, I think Struford is an obvious narcissist, and he can get all pissy for me saying so, but boo-hoo. Prove me wrong, sir, if you think you can. A narcissist and a very malignant one would be Matt Johnson. He's like straight up dangerous as far as I'm concerned. He's not just delusional, he's dangerous. There's a whole little family outing of these little newts right here. If I can... Hold on. We are not alone. There's all the mosquitoes crowding me. I'm going to kind of play it careful here because there are bears in here and stuff. Not that I would be imminently in danger if I ran across one casually, but I'd rather he know that I'm here and not just trip over him. And it's just good to know where they are and what they're occupying themselves doing at the moment. And for the sake of general safety concerns, I'm going to probably relocate, because there's something right in there. And I don't know if you can, I can hear it like basically moving. So I'm going to do the prudence better part of valor thing right now. We're going to take
Just
a
heard a
segment break.
barred owl off in the distance.
We'll be back in a few. So we are obviously heading in a direction opposite where we just were. Hold on. If I were to hazard a guess what we were near, my gut tells me bear, so just best. I basically made my voice a little bit louder so that if it was a bear, it heard me. And I could hear, it wasn't that far away because I could hear it moving away in the undergrowth. So I decided to call it even. And not really risk a run-in with one, since I'm literally the only one here today. Which is a good thing and a bad thing. If you get messed up by a bear, it's a bad thing. If you run into other hairy things that you're looking for, greatly reduces the odds of a hoax, because there's basically one way in or out, and there's usually a car here if that's indicative of somebody else being here. So I just wanted to follow up on that. And so back to the mental health and Bigfooting thing. Narcissism is the big one, because, and I would attribute that to anyone, honestly, who is somebody who considers themselves in that celebrity slot. And that can be a podcaster, a YouTuber, not me, of course, but people of this nature, the convention speakers. There's a big one. As far as actual celebrities go, you could make an argument for Meldrum and like Bobo and Barrickman, because they're well known. And all actually do get out in the field and do research. There may be some that say, well, you left out Moneymaker. Well, Moneymaker is a narcissist, which, if you watch him on Finding Bigfoot, that much is obvious. I'm going to switch gears now, and I guess the other obvious mental illness that is prevalent in the community would be delusion. I'm not sure how you'd label that with an actual condition, but and there's probably a number of underlying root causes. But I mean, there was a guy. He has since unfortunately passed away, so he's no longer with us. But there was a guy who he was out there and he was pointing out all the many forest people that he had made friends with that were all around him as he's filming, and he points out one, and this is where the red arrows and things came in. And when you hear me making that hucking noise right now, if you want to see the villain, I'll show you because it's right there. This lovely yellow weed. Oh, Jesus Christ, never mind. You know what, the mosquitoes are that bad. I stop and you have like, we're at the point where the sweat is, I guess, washing off some of the DEET, and the mosquitoes are smelling the difference, and they are getting increasingly insistent and resultingly bitey, so I got to kind of keep moving, if only to present a moving target to these little bloodsuckers. What the hell is the guy's name? Mitchell something. But he, at one point, had put out the red arrow, and I happened to be watching this on YouTube on the big TV. And so when he zooms in, it's like, yeah, I don't know if you ever took like large screen TV, like level to see things into account, Mitch, but the object of your arrow's attention is quite literally a branch and a leaf or two blowing in the wind. There's literally nothing there. There's quite literally nothing there. So I don't know what to tell you. There's quite literally nothing there. So for you to say otherwise, I'll wish you luck with that, I guess. But that last stretch of this trail was incredibly buggy. I'll wrap up the mental illness thought that I have, and I'm going to probably take a segment break in a minute. Decide if I want to go down a different trail in here. Yeah, let's do that. We'll catch up with you. Okay, so we're back. This is going to be the outro, because I'm going to say that the bugs have won this one. They're getting that bad now. I don't think they're all mosquitoes either. I think I got black flies out here, or some similar cousin of theirs. So this is going to be where we wrap this one up. Kind of a mixed bag of discussion real quick. Mark Zaszky zaniness. He's half Bigfoot because he said so. Okay. And we'll kind of do a quick pan of old growth Connecticut forest and familiar stretch of forest. And then we're going to basically just say like, subscribe, you know, hit the bell and all that YouTube stuff, and we're going to catch you next time. If you have any suggestions or comments, offer them up. But the bugs are literally bugging me to the point where there's a weird little burl thing on a tree right there. If you want to take a second and look at that, it almost looks like something hugging the tree. Weird. But every time I stop, the bugs are on me in force, so we're going to kind of present a moving target and call it a day, because they're just that insistent on depriving me of a little bit of my blood. So yeah, we're going to wrap it up here, and we'll catch you next time. So bye.